Here.
Mrs. Kozer?
Here.
Mrs. Mays? Here. Mr. McConnell?
Here.
Mr. Music?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Mrs. Sorrell? Here. And Dr. George?
Here. Superintendent's report, Dr. Tepper.
Yes, thank you, Mr. McCommons. Good evening. It's quite a busy evening tonight as we are recognizing our senior EWCTC students in our auditorium this evening. There may be board members entering and exiting our meeting this evening in order to participate in that ceremony. I would like to congratulate all of our students who are being recognized for their accomplishments for attending the Eastern Western Career and Technology Center. And on behalf of the entire district and the Board of Education, we wish all the students the very best in their future endeavors. I'm very pleased to announce that we had a very successful prom at Zone 28 this past Friday. And we look forward to a wonderful graduation at Latrobe Memorial Stadium Thursday, June 3rd at 7 o'clock p.m. And I don't even want to mention a rain date because we're confident that we will have a beautiful evening for our commencement ceremony. I feel it's necessary to share important information with you regarding our world language course offerings. I would like to clarify any misunderstandings and to note that there will be no formal vote from our Board of Directors this evening regarding our French and German course offerings. We are not curtailing a program, therefore a vote by the Board of Education is not required to alter the manner in which courses may be offered. Additionally, actually our World Language Department is expanding next school year into our elementary schools with the offering of kindergarten through 6th grade exploratory Spanish. So if I could just explain, for the past several years, our student enrollment numbers in German and French have been declining to the point that we must reevaluate the manner in which we offer these courses. If I could give you an example, for the 2021-22 school year, we have 112 7th through 12th grade students electing German. We have 133 7th through 12th grade students electing French and 567 students 7th through 12th grade electing Spanish. Another important note is that we have 133 7th grade students enrolled in Spanish for this upcoming year. 133. And that is the same number of students that we have enrolled in our entire French program, 7 through 12. The recommendation has been made to gradually phase out German and French in our Greater Latrobe brick and mortar face-to-face setting. I want to be very clear that all students in grades 7 through 12 who are currently scheduled for German and French, even if they will just begin German or French next school year, they will be able to continue with the language in a brick and mortar setting, face-to-face through their senior year. Beginning with the 2022-23 school year, incoming 7th grade students will enroll in Spanish for their world language. When the students enter their 9th grade year, if they choose to schedule for German or French, or any other language for that matter, they may do so through our eAcademy Plus program at the district's expense. I would also like to note that over the next year, we will continue to research other options to provide for our students to participate in world language classes that will involve face-to-face brick and mortar setting, which could possibly be at the community college or utilizing other outside resources as well. Per the PA school code, every school district shall provide a planned instruction in at least 2 languages in addition to English, at least one of which shall be a modern language, and at least one of which shall be offered in a minimum 4-year sequence in the secondary program. Greater Latrobe School District will be well within compliance with the Pennsylvania School Code by offering Spanish K through 12 and levels 1 through AP, as well as offering additional world languages for our students through eAcademy Plus, and again, in hopes of being able to have other outside colleges or organizations for our students to attend. I would like to note this recommendation has not been taken lightly. Discussions have occurred for several years with the World Language Department on strategies to promote the German and French language in order to recruit additional students. Due to the declining student enrollment, our German and French teachers' schedules have not been able to be filled with world language classes for their full schedule. Additionally, the increased demand of employers seeking Spanish-speaking employees has solidified the demand for Spanish classes, therefore, the Latrobe School District being able to offer Spanish next year in our elementary school settings. As always, the Greater Latrobe School District will continue to prepare students to become lifelong learners and responsible, productive citizens. Thank you. That's all.
Area of visitors, part 1. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak about any item on the agenda this evening. Please state your name and address when you step up to the podium. Please keep your questions and comments to 5 minutes. There will also be time at the end of the meeting to discuss any further concerns. Anybody have anything you want to come here and talk to us about?
Hi, good evening. My name is Todd Friskier. I live on 204 Kemmer Road, Latrobe. I had approached Mr. Music a couple of weeks ago about a incident I had at the stadium concerning parking for a varsity track meet, and I was hoping that to be here last meeting to discuss it, but I found out that you weren't going to do any visitor comments.
This is not on the agenda. It would have to come up at the end of the meeting.
But it's under transportation. I'm just going to ask a general question that Mr. Music would like to bring up more information.
At the end of the meeting, you can ask the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Just so you understand, I don't have a mask on. I have part of my right lung taken out, and it's very hard for me to breathe and talk at the same time with a mask, so, but I'll keep my distance.
Hi, my name is Isabel Orange, for those who don't know me. I'm a 2017 graduate from Latrobe, and I just received my Bachelor's of Science from LaRoche University in Pittsburgh. And I'm here about the World Language Department that you just mentioned.
Excuse me, honey, we're able to take comment after the meeting regarding this because there is no resolution pertaining to the world language, but we would welcome you at the end of the meeting to share your comments.
So no world languages before part 2.
Yes, for part 2, there will be. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on with the other business. A resolution to approve the minutes of the April 20th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any questions or comments in regards to that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Other business. This is appointment 2020-2021. Number 276, appointment of a school board member to replace the vacancy that we have by death. Mrs. Rhonda Lockman.
So moved.
Motion made. Second.
Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay.
It's a roll call. It's a roll call vote.
How to say that?
Yes.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Surratt,
Yes.
Dr. Zork,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mrs. Kozer,
Yes.
Mrs. Maines,
Yes.
Mr. McCommons,
Yes.
Mr. Music,
Yes.
and Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
That passes 8 yeas, 0 nays.
It's on the second page,
You just want to go ahead.
The adoption passes.
So what's the first report, Mr. Nichols?
Solicitor's report. I recommend that you move on resolution number 242 to approve the student disciplinary matter number 2 of the 2021 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Nay. The resolution passes.
I recommend that you move on resolution number 243, the approval of tax assessment appeal of New Plan Realty Associates, as previously explained to this board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passes.
And that concludes my report, Mr. Vice President, sitting as president.
Okay. Education and planning, Mrs. Mays.
Thank you. I will move for adoption of resolution number 244 to approve the new course for the 21-22 school year called a Social History of the United States.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
The resolution passes.
I move for adoption of resolution number 245 to approve Mount Aloysius College cooperative agreement for the 21-22 school year.
So moved.
Motion made second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I also move for adoption of resolution number 246 to approve the Westmoreland Base Management and Support Incorporated WSCI Student Assistance Program, which we call SAP, Enhanced Services Letter of Agreement for the 21-22 school year.
Second.
Motion made second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I also move for adoption of resolution number 247 to approve the Delphi Education Incorporated updated tuition schedule Exhibit A for March 15, 2021 through June 30th, 2021.
Second.
Motion made second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
I also move for adoption
So
of
approved.
resolution number 248 to approve the ECAT Academy Memorandum of Understanding between GLSC and TLEA for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Motion made second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. resolution passes.
I move for adoption resolution number 249 to approve tuition students as listed begin for the 2021 school year.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I move for adoption resolution number 250 to approve the summer educational grant as listed.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate these people for applying for these grants and for pursuing their education into master's degrees and doctorates. I applaud them, and glad that they did that. Dr. Miller.
Absolutely.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes, the resolution passes.
Yeah, that's all of my report, Mr. Vice President. Thank you.
We want finance. Mr. Palmer.
Finances, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I would ask the board to approve resolution number 251, approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Motion made, second. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would also ask the board to approve number 252, approve payment of bills.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 253, gifts, grants, and donations, and to thank Ms. Michelle Octavier and Sarah Kristen Thomas for their donations of $1,000 each.
For our prom buses.
There you go.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 254, approve tax appeal settlements.
Second.
Motion made, second. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay.
I would ask the board to approve number 255, appoint Act 511 tax collectors for 2021-2022 school year.
Second.
Motion made, second. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 256, approve 2021-2022 designation of phosphorus. See below.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay.
I would
The
ask the board-
resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 257, authorization to invest funds for the 2021-2022 school year.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the school board to approve number 258, reappoint school district treasurer through June 30, 2022.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 259, approve 2022 real estate tax assessment appeals program.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 260, approve 2021-2022 district tax rebate program.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments on the program? All in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would ask the board to approve number 261, approve 2021-2022 general fund proposed final budget. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Ross.
Second.
Motion made, second. Roll call vote, please.
Dr. George.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mrs. Kozer.
Yes.
Mrs. Maines.
Yes.
Mr. McCommons.
Yes.
Mr. Music.
Yes.
Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Surratt.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
The Finance Committee meeting minutes from May 11th, 2021 are attached. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be Tuesday, June 8th at 5:30 PM here at Senior High School Library. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Facilities and Operations Planning, Mr. Palmer.
Okay?
Round two.
You're not done yet.
I'm gonna fall out of my chair now. We'll ask the board to approve resolution number 262, approve summer projects with permission to seek quotes and/or bids for the 2021 capital improvement project as listed in the attachment. The projects will be funded by the capital improvements fund.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any question or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I will ask the board to approve number 263, approve authorization to award proposal quotes for the replacement of capital equipment as listed in the attachment.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any question or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
We'll ask the board to approve number 264, approve authorization to seek request for proposals or RFP plans for facilities master planning and visioning services.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any question or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I ask the board to approve number 265, approve authorization to seek request for proposals, RFP plans for facilities energy investment grade audit services.
Second.
Motion made, second. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
And our next facilities operations planning committee meeting is June 10th, 3:30 PM at the administration building. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Transportation, Mr. Music.
Mr. Vice President, I have no report on transportation this evening. Want me to move on to student activities and recreation? Motion on the floor to approve resolution number 266, which is Excel Health 5-year athletic fair.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
And the next student activities and recreation committee will be the truck, CDC truck. And
Thank you, Mr. Music. Community Relations, Mrs. Surratt.
Thank you, Mr. McCommons. I'd like to ask the board's approval of resolution number 267, approval of the intergovernmental cooperation agreement and bylaws for the Latrobe, Unity, Youngstown, and GLSD Parks and Recreation Commission. Attachments explain the details.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments?
Yes. Upon approval of this, we will be having a meeting on Tuesday, June 1st, in the evening at 7 o'clock as a signing meeting, little celebration for the work that went into, again, combining Latrobe and Liberty Township together under the guidance of the school district for a singular recreation program for our students. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Did you say 7 o'clock?
It's 7 o'clock Tuesday night, that's right.
Any other questions or comments?
Thanks for your help with this.
It is a wonderful thing. I think we really do much this time.
Very excited.
Is that going to be the name, Sue? It doesn't trip over the tongue.
Yes.
That's going to be the name?
Yeah, had to get them all in there. I thought we were going to shorten that to something.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
Thank you. And the updated cooperative agreement with Unity Township and Mountain View Elementary School PTO in support of Unity Township's grant to the Pennsylvania Greenways Trail and Recreation Program.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
And the next meeting of the Latrobe GLSD Parks and Recreation Commission will be Thursday, June the 17th at 4:30. That's, I guess, a follow-up to the celebration on June the 1st, the actual meeting on the 17th, at the Latrobe Municipal Building, Council Chambers. That's all we have, Mr. McCombs. Thank you.
Westmoreland Intermediate Unit, liaison, Mrs. Maines.
Thank you. The next WIU committee meeting is being held as we speak, Tuesday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. in the Fred Rogers Room at the WIU building.
Thank you, Mrs. Maines.
Thank you.
Board policy and PSBA liaison, Mrs. Sarath.
Thank you, Mr. McCombs. I bring to the board the resolution number 269 for the final adoption and approval of the board policies and the attachments listed below. We've gone over these the last few months.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Resolution is passed.
Thank you, sir. For 2021, we want to bring to your attention the 2021 PSBA Delegate Assembly event. This year, according to the PSBA requests, they are doing this assembly, delegate assembly as a hybrid event. We at Greater Latrobe are entitled to appoint up to 3 individuals to attend the assembly if people are interested. I didn't know what it was, so I did a little bit of research. In the letter, it explains that they discussed the platforms they'll be standing on this year and bylaws, any financial updates, and election of leadership to the PSBA. So if anyone is interested, you can attend in person if you're one of the first 100 on the list. After that, then you would be participating via Zoom. So any of us who are interested should let Mrs. Brahowski know. Thank you, that's all. Well, no, sorry. The next board policy committee meeting is to be determined. Thank you, Mr. McCombs.
Thank you, Mrs. Sarath. EWC-TC Joint Operating Committee, Mrs. Kozar.
Thank you, Mr. McCombs. Our seniors are having their senior ceremony this evening, right next door. That was all the cheering we heard a little bit ago. It's kind of sad for Latrobe, especially because we normally are sitting up on the stage and be able to cheer on our students. But because of COVID and scheduling and everything, this was the only night it was open. They've handled it very well. We have 2 different sections going through an hour at least, or they?
Yes, an hour, 6 to 7 and 7:30 to 8:30.
So they're all done now. That's what all the traffic leaving is all about. So I'm sorry to have missed most of it. Dr. Tapper and I and Dr. Mr. Palmer were in earlier. It's always a really wonderful event because you really get to cheer on the kids and they've accomplished so much and they don't always talk about it back at their Sunday schools, but they've done some amazing things in that building. Things that will really carry them forward throughout their lives. And I wish them all well. Our next joint operating committee meeting for EWCTC is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the dance. And that concludes my report this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kozar. Technology, Mr. Palmer.
Got nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Establishment.
We got an English teacher somewhere. Nobody threw a book in my head. But I used it in 4 square.
Sad talk and yelling that, so we're good.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Superintendent's recommendation
resignations.
Thank you, Mr. McCommons. I'd ask the board to please move on resolution number 270 to approve the resignations, and I would like to thank the following individuals for their time. Renee Guyry, who will be retiring August 9th. Michelle Stevenson, full-time food service. Renee Guyry, was a full-time secretary. Michelle Stevenson, full-time food service, retiring June 30th, effective June 30th. And Nicole Jamison is resigning for personal reasons, part-time food service. Also, Pete Kuda, personal reasons, boys lacrosse head coach. Ralph Kincaid, varsity football first assistant coach. And Zach Hyde as our golf junior varsity coach. And again, I would like to thank all these individuals for their service to Greater Latrobe School District.
Heard a motion, second the motion.
Second.
All those, any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I'd ask the board to please move on resolution number 271 to approve professional personnel. Samantha Job, Spanish K through 12, Step 1 bachelor's degree, and Marissa Falcoski, Special Education Step 1 master's degree. Effective dates for employment, August 23rd, 2021.
So moved.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
I'd ask the board to
Passes.
I apologize. I'd ask the board to please move on resolution number 272 to approve professional personnel substitute teacher Ryan Collette, retroactive to May 10th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Resolution passes.
I'd ask the board to please move on resolution number 273 to approve support personnel classified as stated. Nicole Jamison, classroom assistant. Mickey Brandt, summer psychologist. Melissa Redinger, summer psychologist. Melissa Mulheron, confidential secretary. Cynthia Fowler, custodian. And Lauren Stauffer, part-time food service.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I'd ask the board to please move on resolution number 274 to approve support personnel supplemental appointments. Lester Williams, softball JV assistant coach, retroactive to March 8th, 2021. And Dana Machinsky, volunteer softball junior high assistant, retroactive to April 23rd, 2021.
So moved.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I'd ask the board to please move on resolution number 275 to approve employee benefit and pay plans effective July 1st, 2021. The attachments are all there.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The resolution passes.
I would like to mention that we have our senior high school awards assembly this Thursday, May 27th at 8:30 a.m. here in our senior high school auditorium, and the event will be live streamed as well. Our class of 2021 will be doing their school walk this Friday, where our seniors will visit their attending elementary school. It's always a very exciting time. No school for our holiday, Memorial Day, Monday, May 31st, and our baccalaureate service is Wednesday, June 2nd in our senior high school auditorium at 7 o'clock p.m. And as previously stated, graduation is June 3rd at Memorial Stadium at 7 o'clock. And we do have a rain date for Friday, June 4th, but we're confident we won't have to use that. And the last day of instruction is an early dismissal for students for Friday, June 4th. Our next board meetings will occur Tuesday, June 8th is our committee of the whole meeting, and Tuesday, June 22nd, our regular board meeting. Both meetings 7:30 p.m. here at the Senior High School Center for Student Creativity.
Thank you. This, time for the hearing, excuse me, hearing of the visit of the second part two. Again, approach, state your name, your address, limited to 5 minutes.
Thanks for your patience.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Todd Friskier. I live at 204 Kimmer Road. On April 7th, I emailed the school board about a parking incident happening down at the Latrobe Stadium during a varsity track meet. Upon some investigation looking through your website, I found that the lease agreement between the school board and DMJ Transportation, in my opinion, has been compromised. It states in their lease agreement that in the event that the Memorial Stadium is being used for a football game or any other designated school function, DMJ agrees to move buses to the high school for parking. That has also been brought to Mr. Music's attention, and a couple of days after that, on April 12th, I got a phone call from Mr. Crayley, the transportation liaison, and he informed me that they had decided to move the buses to the back row of the stadium for additional parking for the spectators. And I reiterated to Mr. Crayley, I said, that's fine, but the lease agreement specifically states they are to be moved during any school designated function. So my question is, it's already done with and over with. From what I understand, there have been 8 events where they did not move the buses for this lease agreement. But in my workings, being on various boards throughout the county and through various organizations, I've never come across a situation where administration or other people have the ability to renegotiate a board voted on agreement. This was agreed upon from the board, it's on record, stated as is. Somebody gave permission for somebody in administration to renegotiate without board approval.
Were there issues with parking after the day that you emailed us about?
Yes, because during the Hempfield varsity track meet, I contacted Mr. Music again because one, it was Hempfield, they have a big following. Secondly, it was senior night. There were 26 seniors being recognized on the varsity track team. All the parents were there. I happened to be the 3rd school bus that was taking the Hempfield track team back to their home school.
What was that date?
April 25th, I believe it was around there. But there were issues with people parking in the area where the designated buses were, and the buses actually had issues being parked at that time because there were so many people at the stadium. But what was also interesting, and it came to light as I was heading back to Hempfield, was the Hempfield coach that was on my bus mentioned that he was upset with Latrobe Athletics. I didn't tell anybody this one. The coach on my bus I've known for 25 years. My wife was coached under him through Hempfield. He informed me that through COVID, Hempfield had various meets that they had missed. It was Penn Trafford, Greensburg, and Norwin, and they all were available to be participating in a meet at the Latrobe Stadium. But according to the coach that was on my bus, it was already approved and it was a go, and at the last minute it was canceled because the Latrobe track coach had said that it would cost too much money for the school district to move the buses for everybody to be there.
I'm totally unaware of any type of statement being made regarding track events not being held because of too much money for...
Well, this was to help Hempfield make up some meets that they had missed due to COVID shutdowns. Okay.
So are you saying that Hempfield would have been renting our facility?
No. Hempfield was already at our stadium with the track meet against Latrobe.
Okay.
They were in agreement, and all the other schools were available, Greensburg, Norwin, and Penn Trafford, to come to the Latrobe Stadium to have a quad meet with Hempfield. Whereas it would be Hempfield against all the other schools to make up their missed section meets.
Did that coach tell our athletic director that?
I don't know how far it went up. But that's what that coach had mentioned to me.
We'll definitely check into that. I am totally unaware of that, Mr. Fitzgerald. And as far as it being a cost to move buses, that's the first time I've ever
Okay.
heard that.
But that's all we're going with, and it was already taken care of and made up. But the issue that I have to bring forward to is somebody gave permission, or somebody in administration renegotiated a school board voted on lease agreements. That was not voted on to be changed. That's my issue. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to say? Now it's time to do it.
Good boys, go. Okay.
My name's Brandon McGinn. I'm the class of 2017. I live at 616 Raymond Avenue. In regards to the World Language Department decision, Dr. Tepper, I'd like to thank you for providing the enrollment statistics for us, but it seems that the administration and board failed to consider some of the other numbers regarding the World Language Department. I'd just like to bring a few of those forward. As of March 22nd, 7 of the top 20 national universities require a minimum of 2 to 4 years world languages, and the other 13 consider it strongly in their applications. The 3 schools that are ranked above us in the Pennsylvania school rankings in Westmoreland County, being Norwin, Penn Trafford, and Franklin Regional. Norwin offers French, German, and Spanish 1 through 4. Penn Trafford offers French, German, Spanish 1 through AP, and Russian 1. And Franklin Regional offers French 1 through AP and Spanish 1 through AP. At this point in time, it appears that the administration and board has the intent to replace, please correct me if I'm wrong, 50% of the instructors in the junior high language department, one of which who also instructs one of your Unified Pathways courses, and the other which teaches ESL, English as a second language, which comprise 13% of your non-core instructors in the junior high staff department. 17% of the non-core elective credits in your high school 21-22 course catalog, including 69% of the world language curriculum and 50% of AP eligible electives. And replacing the departments which contributed from 2013 to 2019, 83% of the 222 APPLES language competition wins. So I fail to see how the falling enrollment justifies the replacement of 2 of the most important departments in the school, and why it isn't on the onus of the school board and the administration to do better promoting these 2 departments to incoming students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? When you say replace, do you mean that those instructors will be moved out of the district? You said about replacing the instructors.
Replacing the instructors or replacing the programs?
Okay, because the instructors are not going to lose their positions here. You understand that?
Sure.
That's all. I didn't understand what you had said there, and I wanted to make sure you understood that.
Sure. Feel free to interchange the programs.
What's that?
Feel free to interchange instructors and programs.
Do you mean the
Courses.
the method of way the programs would be delivered?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, round 2.
Thanks for your patience.
No problem. I've never been to one of these, so.
That's okay.
All right, so I'm Isabel Orange, Bell Orange. I also graduated in 2017 with Brandon, and I just graduated with my bachelor's from LaRoche University. And I'm also here about the World Language Department. So since learning that the Latrobe District plans to phase out the departments over time, I've been extremely upset. I know you've been taking this into consideration for a lot of years, but I've been upset with this decision and disappointed that the future students are not going to have the opportunities for languages other than Spanish. I know you mentioned possibly going to outside schools. and other college programs. But the purpose of what made Latrobe so great for all of us was that we had such a well-rounded education, and that means just exposing students to not only STEM classes, which I've been through, but also other areas of study and interest, so that students can continue past the high school level and become proficient in a field of study that they know and they're comfortable with, other than the STEM fields. So I just didn't know how Latrobe students were supposed to know what they want or might be gifted in, other than just the core classes. That's what's been setting Latrobe apart, and like Brandon said, one of the top 5 schools for a language department. Sorry, I'm all over the place. So, like I was saying, the well-rounded education is necessary for personal growth for students and embracing new experiences. I went on the German trip with several of the students here. I think it was our junior year, to Germany, and since then it sparked an interest for me and several other students in areas I didn't know I was interested in, and I really want other students to have that opportunity. Spanish is an amazing language, and there's lots of jobs and opportunities with it, but I've seen in my 4 years since graduating here that I'm constantly asked for different job opportunities. What languages are you fluent in? Job opportunities don't just come from Spanish-speaking and English-speaking people. In America, where there's many different languages and cultures, and it's important that students are exposed to more diverse cultures than just 2. I know you said there's requirements for 2 different languages other than English, but if anything, we should be exposing them to more and trying to prompt them to take things other than Spanish. I remember, this is not me being ignorant, but my thought process as a young student was, oh, Spanish is the easy A class, I want to take something harder. So I took German, and I loved that experience. I loved learning about the culture. Since then, I've learned about all different cultures. And I really implore you guys to reconsider, if it's not finalized, the plans to phase out the French and German departments, because we have a duty to offer the students as many different learning opportunities as they can before they get to college or other fields of study, so that they they have different opportunities. And so many students' lives have been impacted by not only the teachers but the languages, and tearing these families apart is just the wrong move in my opinion, and the students deserve to have these teachers change their lives the way it's changed mine. So, thank you.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tepper, for those details regarding the German language program. Obviously, there's a lot that I did not know, and I had to think on the fly, so bear with me. My name is Spencer Simpson. I live at 732 Weimer Street in Latrobe. As a graduate of the class of 2017 and an avid participant in the German language program at Greater Latrobe, I would like to express my deepest objections to the phasing out of the in-classroom French and German classroom programs at Greater Latrobe. As an institution dedicated to the education, the growth, and development of Greater Latrobe students into well-rounded citizens, I do not believe that the school board can justify this cancellation and phasing out into an online platform. As a 7th grader, the German language program stood shoulders above the others in my selection of my language, and I quickly fell in love with the German language due to the hard work and dedication of Frau Wilkerson. Not only did I enjoy the language program, but I thrived in it, achieving better grades in German than I did in my other classes, including history, which was my eventual field of undergraduate study. The skills and knowledge obtained through the efforts of Mrs. Wilkerson and Mrs. Roy enabled me to retain significant portions of the curriculum years after I had graduated from Greater Latrobe. Such retention is only possible through in-class discussion and immersion. As a sophomore in college, I took an elementary Spanish class. As a senior in college, I took a beginner's level Latin course. and I still have better retention of the German vocabulary and grammar concepts than I do of either Spanish or Latin. The summer before my senior year at Greater Latrobe, I participated in a school-sponsored trip to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. The instruction I received at Greater Latrobe allowed me to have an extended conversation with a Swiss-German couple while stuck in a gondola ride up to Mount Pilatus. Despite my having not taken German in over 2 years, I was able to hold a conversation with them for over 25 minutes. The cultural experiences had there cannot be replicated by any online course. Additionally, for my undergraduate degree, I was required to complete 6 credit hours of intermediate level modern language. Rather than pursuing Spanish or French, I once again chose to complete a rigorous and immersive 12-week German college level course, which, by the way, was online. With the foundation of German I learned at Greater Latrobe 6 years prior to starting that course, I completed the 12-week course in only 4 weeks with top marks. This achievement would not have been possible without the excellence of the German program and its instructors here at Greater Latrobe. I would furthermore ask the members of the school board the following question. Have any of you ever taken an online language class? Have you ever attempted to take such an inherently social class in such an inherently unsocial platform? The only reason that I succeeded in my online German class was through the previous experience that I gained in a brick-and-mortar German classroom. I urge the school board to reject the possibility of discontinuing the French and German programs at Greater Latrobe. The critical and creative thinking skills learned through the language program had a profound impact on me and the other students that cannot be replicated or replaced by any other program. Let the curriculum of this school board reflect the same diversity and opportunities that make the United States a great nation and not seek loopholes to justify their decision to phase the French and German programs into extinction. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alexis Pagana. I am a senior at Greater Latrobe Senior High School, and I live at 616 Raymond Avenue. I want to start off my discussion with talking a little bit about myself and my experience as a student in Latrobe. I am a disabled student, and that has grossly impacted my experience as a student. I've had 2 major surgeries in the last year, and one of those caused me to have to leave Latrobe and attend an online school for a year. So I think that is important to contextualize my experience with online learning, externally and internally within the district. So I took German my 7th grade year. I was inspired by my brother, but I fell in love with it. Because of my experience in German, I was inspired to learn American Sign Language, Russian, Bulgarian, Hebrew, Arabic, Scottish Gaelic, and plan to learn more. I'm a bit of an overachiever, I know, but I love it. Global Scholars is another program that I'm involved in and have completed. I love the experience. And without German, I don't think that I would have been involved in that. I plan to work in international human rights law in the Middle East, and my experience in the language department is what fueled that interest. In terms of my education as an online student, I would challenge you to look into how effective E-Academy is. Because as a student who has taken E-Academy courses, I feel failed. And I feel that if the language department becomes an E-Academy situation, it will fail students. I also challenge you to attend or to question how effective students who have taken online health feel about their health education. Because I can assure you that in the study halls that I attended to take online health, the sheer volume of cheating, Googling, disappointment in the program, and miseducation was gross. Now I would like to discuss a bit about the German program and what I have personally done to fight this decision. I created a petition in which I have received currently 1,737 signatures, of people who are against this decision. I would also like to bring up the fact that the school board's mission statement informs you that you believe that an inspiring, challenging, motivating environment enhances students' capabilities to compete in a global society. I do not see how removing languages from us will help us do that. I don't. I would also like to remind you that every school in the county has at least French and German programs in the building. And that exploratory Spanish, which I have just been informed about, clearly has a favoritism effect over the amount of students coming into the junior high and high school that would be interested in French and German. I do have 4 folders available that I would like to offer you that contains the petition signatures and comments, the Pennsylvania Code, which I challenge applies if the 2 languages are not quality education in those 2 languages. I also have the other counties' programs and the Apples competition wins, which prove that the Spanish program grossly underperforms. Grossly. Thank you.
Hello, my name is McKenna Martinowski, and I live at 414 Primrose Drive in Greensburg. So I'm a 2017 graduate of Greater Latrobe as well, and although it's been 4 years since I've walked the halls of the high school, the memories that I made in the German program have lived on pretty much forever. Details of biology classes, physics, and time spent doing labs and chemistry are a blur to me now, but the memories from my time in German with Frau Wilkerson are the ones that I truly remember. I took German from my time in 7th grade all the way through the AP level with Herr Kiefer as a senior. The German program provided me with countless opportunities that included traveling to Germany when I had never been outside of the United States before, and also being inducted into the German National Honor Society, where I served my senior year as the secretary. All of which are things that built me up as a physician assistant program applicant. Applicants who had taken Spanish are seen time and time again, but something more unique like German really stands out and made me something that was set aside from other applicants. This is precisely why I chose German in the first place, as well as to learn more about my heritage. In a time where STEM has become the forefront of education and the focus of many high schools, I've slowly seen the arts and foreign language programs get shoved aside and swept under the rug. Because how can knowing musical notes or how to conjugate a German verb help you in a STEM-related career path, right? Well, I can tell you from my experiences, the classes that were not directly related to my STEM major mattered just as much and sometimes more than classes like physics and chemistry. My senior year of high school, I actually dropped physics from my schedule and replaced it with AP German, and it was one of the best decisions I could have made for myself. I had already committed to Gannett's physician assistant program, and I knew that taking physics would not benefit me in the long run when it came to my career path. I can tell you with complete confidence, as a physician assistant student that just graduated magna cum laude, choosing to take yet another STEM class in place of German that year would not have made any difference to me or made me a better medical provider. Because it is often the overlooked classes, such as French and German, that end up making the biggest difference. My STEM classes gave me the foundation to learn medicine, but it is my non-STEM experiences that truly molded me into the healthcare provider I'm becoming. I could know every medical term in the book and the ins and outs of every Newton's law, but without competence in areas other than STEM, I would be doing an immense disservice to my patients. If there is one personality trait that is important as a medical provider, it is to be compassionate and understanding with people from all cultures and all walks of life. Being part of the German program helped me to do this and allowed me to broaden my horizons and understand cultures other than my own, which ultimately helped me to cultivate cultural competence and excel even more as a physician assistant student. In a time where cultural acceptance, diversity, and equality are talked about more than ever before, why on earth would you want to go backwards? Yes, it's great to have Spanish offered in a junior high and high school, but after experiencing what it was like to go to a school that offered 3 languages, trimming it down to 1 is simply not enough. And I know there's the case of offering it online, but if there's one thing that being a college student during COVID taught me, it's that online educations are not as quality as ones that are in person, and they simply do not offer the same opportunities. I always thought of myself as lucky to go to a school that offered something other than Spanish alone. I was thrilled with the privilege of having the choice of what language I would be taking. By cutting these parts of the foreign language program, Latrobe School District will be doing a huge disservice to its students, to cultural
cultural competence, and to the future STEM leaders the school has been so focused on developing. In the words of Mr. Rogers, we want to raise our children so they can take a sense of pleasure in their heritage and the diversity of others. Please think about that ever important diversity and reconsider the notion to cut not one but 2 languages from the foreign language department. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Juliana Mills, class of 2017. I live at 1125 Laurelyn Drive, Latrobe. I was involved in many aspects of this high school, one of them being the language department. Like McKenna, I took German for 6 years, from 7th grade to AP. I cannot even begin to describe the well-rounded and exceptional education I received from both Frau Wilkerson and Herr Kiefer. It equates to my college education. I attended college 9 hours away. When people ask me why I went that far, my reasoning is it's as far as I could drive to get away from here. My college experience made me realize everyone I was surrounded by growing up, talking about the people in Latrobe, only care about the enclave they are in. And where does this start? With my education here in the Greater Latrobe School District. I prided myself in attending this school. I believed it provided me with the greatest educational opportunities possible. My experience in college showed me otherwise, and I later came to realize that many of my successes are attributed to individual teachers, such as my German teachers. I am devastated to hear the class being pushed online. The first thing I wondered was, did or do you have children in the district? I know many of you do, because that alone should let you decide how you feel about this. The only development of intercultural competencies and diversity exposure we receive is through our interactions in the language department. How will children learn to appreciate and be accepting of differences when you can't provide the proper educational opportunity? Latrobe prides itself in academics, but shoving STEM down our throats and forgoing focus on the arts and humanities is embarrassing. There are limited opportunities other than STEM at this school, and for people who are interested in something different. This makes many students feel less of themselves because you do not define anything other than STEM as successful. So many kids come through the language, arts, history, and English department wanting to continue with it, but the high school is not supportive of these endeavors and now taking away these opportunities. I majored in STEM because of the pressure I felt in high school. Even though I have a path in science currently, the most valuable part of my job is the people. I work with 17 different people firsthand on a daily basis. 12 of those 17 people are from different countries where English is not their first language. I hear a total of 9 different languages every single day. 9 different languages, there's repeating. The way I've learned to navigate relationships with them despite the language barrier is through the physical and social face-to-face interactions. We have weekly meetings online, and they are counterproductive because it is so hard to understand each other. So if working adults can't do this and navigate different language experiences, how do you expect developing teens to learn a whole new language? As you said at your last meeting and today, it was approved for an elementary school Spanish teacher. Everyone here understands the benefits of learning a language, obviously, and from a young age. But that is no reason to deprive your students of one of the most unique things this school still has. Spanish is commonly known, I think someone stated this before too, it's commonly known among students here as the easy way out. Guidance even suggests people take it if they are worried about German or French being too difficult. Shouldn't you be challenging your students? Just today, you blamed this decision on numbers, but how about encouraging your students to face adversity and capping the numbers on Spanish? They aren't taking it because they want to. They're taking it because it's easy. Why don't you use Frau Wilkerson, Herr Kiefer, Madame Montulik, and Madame Zaleski and their talents in the elementary schools as well? Only having access to Spanish does not bridge the gap across the ocean. Finally, your main argument is that language can be taught through a computer, and with the ability of technology today, we don't need in-person classes. Why can't we do that with all the classes then? More than ever, children are lacking communication and language skills because of the technology today. So how does this make sense? Also, weren't you adamant about getting kids back into the classroom during the pandemic, you did fail to mention today, the last time you put languages online, you discontinued them. That is, speaking in regards to the Latin and Chinese programs. Your business decision, as it has been called, is setting the foundation for your future students, telling them it is okay to be insular. I also believe us recent alumni can speak to the best of our interests on this topic, being young professionals who just graduated college online. All reasonings for putting the program online could never outweigh the cultural benefits of keeping these languages in person. You would be taking away a child's right to learn, experience, and grow. And you would not be doing your best as educators. This is the bare minimum. The privilege in our education is not having choices made for us and opportunities deprived. Additionally, I would like to offer you guys letters. I have been informed that they cannot be read on other people's behalfs, and they will not be read, but I have 25 letters to give out to you all if you are interested, and if I may approach.
Sure, you can bring them to the table. I don't know, are they the same letters that possibly were emailed? Because if they are, I know the Board of Education made certain to forward them, but you can put them here and we will gladly accept them.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Do you mind if I pass them out?
I can
Bring them up and we'll make certain you
leave them here, I'll pass them around.
we'll make certain they get
Thank
them.
you.
You're welcome.
This is stuff for everyone.
Okay. So make sure that you pass these.
Call for the next speaker.
No problem. Sorry. Hopefully that's enough. Absolutely. Going around. You're welcome.
May I speak now?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Michael Mondock. I live at 198 Truxell Road in Greensburg. I am a member of the class of 2016 of the Greater Latrobe School District, and I am a graduate of the class of 2020 of St. Vincent College. When I signed up to take German upon my entry to the Latrobe High School, I was an excitable 12-year-old kid whose only connection with the language was a partial German ancestry. What I got out of it was 6 years of education in language, and one more in college, several lasting friendships, and massive changes of perspective in my views of the world and my career path. I've always loved the sound of the German language. Everyone says it, sounds harsh, but I think there's this very intense beauty to it. And I've always really loved the German culture too. So taking German was kind of a way for me to kind of reach out and try to connect with that culture. And boy, was I able to. Frau Wilkerson, formerly Frau Spangenberg, and Herr Kiefer, as well as Frau Roy, who is no longer with the school district, are engaging teachers who work tirelessly to help their students learn and love the German language and culture. I want to stress I was not the only student who loved German. Hundreds of other students can also testify to all the learning and fun that they had in these classes. Our teachers encouraged activities both inside and outside the classroom that helped us learn teamwork and communication skills and helped us form lasting relationships with our fellow students, whether they be speaking activities in the class or trips to nearby German language related sites or the trip to Germany, which I'll get back to. I want to stress as well that some of my most valued friendships in high school came from the German class. But I also want to note the personal effect it had on me. In 2014, I went on the class field trip to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. And I was so impressed by the beauty of the landscapes and the culture there. I can still remember walking into Cologne Cathedral and feeling just the immensity of the architecture and the weight of the history coming down on me. And this, in large part, influenced my decision to major in history in college and my specialty, particularly in medieval European history. The German language classes were some of the most important that I had during my time in the Greater Latrobe School District, which is precisely why I was shocked to hear that those classes, as well as French classes, will soon be removed to make way for a K-12 Spanish program. I can understand why the school district values the Spanish language. It carries much practical importance in the world today and is a beautiful language that can open students up to a new culture in the same way as German students were. But I believe it is a mistake to prioritize Spanish over German and French, and I would feel the same way if German were being prioritized over Spanish and French. To single out one foreign language to teach at Latrobe would remove one of the most important parts of the education system: choice. The school system, after all, is meant to prepare students for the future and allow students to explore different career paths and disciplines to decide whether one is right for them. After all, no two students are alike, and we shouldn't expect every student to have every single interest. We have that option of choices available to us in school. To eliminate 2 foreign language classes would send the message that Latrobe does not appreciate the individuality of their students, that they want each of their pupils to fill the same indistinguishable positions in modern society. This approach is not only dangerous, it is boring. It risks repressing a student's curiosity and creativity, and threatens to make them less individual and special human beings. It would be a greater benefit of our students' intellectual growth to move in the opposite direction, to add more languages to the curriculum and teach all of them beginning in elementary school. I, in particular, would like it quite a bit if the school brought back the Latin and Chinese program, which, as we heard from Juliana, were discontinued several years ago. Now, the school board has said that these classes will continue being offered online. But I would like all of us to think back across the last year, anyone here who has had a Zoom call, and think of all the problems that they had trying to speak English to one of the people on the call. And imagine how hard it would be to try to learn an entire foreign language through a virtual class. And I understand that the school district is trying to preserve the French and German language systems by moving them online. But frankly, it almost reads to me as though they're being made less of a priority. It is the in-person classes, after all, that I feel like we all remember and value the most. And as I said, Zoom calls can be kind of problematic. The Greater Latrobe School District has a reputation as a center of high standards.
Sir, you're a little bit over your time. If you don't mind, if you could wrap up.
I was wrapping up. The Greater Latrobe School District has a reputation as a center of high standards of learning in Westmoreland County. I believe that if we are going to retain these standards, we must retain French and German as secondary language options.
Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Elena Barlock of 1335 Clearview Drive. I graduated in 2017 and I was a French student. I have to apologize. We were unaware that German and French were moved online before we got here. In light of that, please take this as a plea not to downgrade the languages any more than you already have. And also, before I start, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank the school officials for giving me and my fellow alumni a space to speak and share our thoughts. My education at Latrobe in the language program was an invaluable part of my academic experience. And if this pandemic has shown us anything, it's that a learning experience is immensely important to learning any subject in school. And it's proven that online schooling is not as fulfilling as an in-person class, and learning a language in that form would be not only difficult, but also an incomplete education, which is not what I received from Latrobe whenever I attended here. Foreign language students experienced a unique look at the cultural and linguistic foundations of not only foreign countries, but also our own. It widened our outlook of the world, helping us grow as individuals and teaching us new ways to be a valuable part of it. Thanks to the language program at Latrobe, we had a head start going into our college years. Our knowledge of foreign languages, cultures, and history was a huge advantage. This established us as well-rounded students before we even entered a collegiate classroom. ones who easily understood the influence of foreign countries in all of our classes. Today, our education gives us a great addition to our resumes, as many employers in the workforce value employees who can read, write, speak, and understand a foreign language. Those with this invaluable skill are much more marketable to employers and can secure their futures that much easier. Students who graduate from Latrobe are well-rounded in their education and ready to start the next stages of their lives, whether that be in college or in the workforce. This district is renowned for giving their students the best education in the area, but that will no longer be the case if the foreign language program is watered down and phased out. Current and future students will look back on their years here and ask why the skills and opportunities that could have changed the way they went through life were taken away. They will find their answer in you. We as a community elected you to make the best decisions for us, and so you take credit for the decisions you make. If you as elected officials decide to take away a vital part of the learning experience at Latrobe, we will remember you at the next election looking for more suitable options.
Anybody else out there?
Glasses are fogging up there. I appreciate all the students that are speaking tonight, and I'm speaking as a parent now of a student here at Latrobe in German-Bex. Hi, my name is Tammy Bailey, and I live at 117 Bergen Avenue here in Latrobe. I'm here because I heard that the school district is planning to phase out the German and French language programs but keep Spanish. This is one of the biggest mistakes the district can make as an educator. America is a melting pot of many cultures, not just Spanish. To the north across Lake Erie, we have Canada, where they speak English and French. In our own state of Pennsylvania, we have the Amish that speak Pennsylvania Dutch, which has similarities with the dialect of German spoken in Europe today. My husband and I had the pleasure of living in Germany for 3 years while he served in the military. What amazed me was that the younger generation had to learn English in school. And depending on where you lived in that country, they had learned French, Polish, Italian, etc. It is a fact that kids are able to learn a second language easier than adults if given the chance starting at a young age. The longer you wait, the harder it is to grasp. Learning a European language like French or German gives our kids the opportunity to expand on future job opportunities. It could take them in special positions in the military because they can speak local languages. How about the government positions like being a translator for NATO or for the White House? A lot of people that were stationed where we were had some sort of German language background from school. My husband did. Or our students can be the head spokesperson on a business account like my friend making 6 figures before the age of 35 because he is fluent in reading, writing, and speaking German. America does a tremendous amount of business with Germany and is one of America's biggest allies along with France, so why get rid of it? Why are you taking the opportunity away when there are lots of kids interested in learning German or the French language in high school? My son is here in Kiefer's class, German class. Why did my son pick German? Because we told him of our experiences while living in Germany and how I wish I had taken a foreign language in high school instead of photography. We told them Americans needed to travel outside the United States, not Mexico, but Europe, to have their eyes peeled open and experience a whole different world and culture. Now, my son's 2 friends, one who's taken Spanish and one who's taken French, and my son are talking about an after-graduation trip to Europe to visit France, Germany, and Spain because they were given the opportunity to learn those languages while in high school. In conclusion, the U.S. lags far behind the rest of the world in learning a second language, yet we are known as the melting pot. By taking away 2 of the 3 languages Latrobe offers now, you are contributing to America's failure in this department while the world passes us by. I am glad you spoke about online learning, e-learning. And for those that have worked with me, Mr. Joe, with the difficulties that my son had all through COVID, my son was failing almost everything online. My son has 2 disabilities, and one is ADHD, hyperkinetic. And he has a very, very, extremely hard time focusing online. And since he's been back in school for the 4th quarter, his grades went to almost failing every course from a kid who was on distinguished honors all through his life, ranking one of the toppest kids in his class, to failing everything and losing his hope and dreams this year. And to say that they can learn in e-learning is ridiculous as I watched my son, who is being treated for depression now, because he struggled with online learning. So I want to make you aware that online is not for everybody. You can't get the dialect, you can't get the tones, the ch and the sh, and all those things through an online learning. And with the problems that we have with online, with being kicked off, it doesn't work. And the reason why people are afraid to take German and French is because it's hard, it's challenging. And yes, and I have heard from other kids that are taking Spanish, it's the easy way out, it's an easy thing. Because I really don't want to take a second English class, that's why they pick Spanish. So you got to really listen to the kids in your own schools of why they're taking certain things. And I have never heard of German and French being promoted in this school as a parent. Never. I promoted it through my experiences to my son. So take that into consideration of why kids are not learning. Maybe you should introduce German and French in the elementary level. Give them a taste of the cultures of Europe than just Spanish. So that is on just the German and French program. It's a mistake to get rid of it and put it on e-learning because kids aren't going to do it and they're going to fail. I have two other things I wanted to just ask. One is regarding the COVID vaccine. I am fully vaccinated by choice, and I gave my kids the choice to be vaccinated, which they've decided to do. And they are to receive their second dose next week. However, the last 2 days, CDC's came out and said they are finding out that teens and young adults are having heart issues with the Pfizer vaccine. And it is really making me think about not giving my sons the second dose because heart failure, heart disease, runs super high in my family. My mom just passed away 2 months ago at 64 from heart aneurysm. So I'm very on the fence about giving my sons the second vaccines because of this coming out. My concern is for next year's school year, if it is going to be mandatory that these kids need to be vaccinated with the COVID vaccine when there's not enough studies out on it, if I were to pull my kids out of their second dose.
At this point in time, I know nothing about it being mandated.
I just, you know, a lot of schools, you're here to businesses or jobs are saying you have to get.
We have, you know, vaccinations, parents have the right if they choose not to have their child vaccinated in anything. And I'm looking at Mrs. Delovish, but to my knowledge, as I sit here this evening, I've heard nothing about schools being required to make it mandated.
In fact, I think the state government is attempting to pass a law that says just the contrary, that you can't force the students to be vaccinated.
Because you're hearing about in the colleges, like in Pittsburgh, that so you're
nothing
hearing about
like that
different
here.
schools and now it's that trickle effect of will the kids have to be vaccinated? Are they going to have to wear masks next year if they're not vaccinated? So this is something that I'm concerned about just because of 2 days ago, the CDC coming out and talking about the heart issues that they're finding out kids are having 4 days after they get their second dose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can rest assured if the issue comes up, we'll address it. Anybody else out there? Hurry up.
Hi. My name is Katie Lishney. I am currently part of the graduating senior class of 2021. I'm here to give a different perspective on the world language decision because I, for one, believe that French and German are as important as Spanish, and coming from the perspective that I myself am a Spanish student, and I believe I'm the only Spanish student here speaking today on behalf of the German and French students. So, I understand what you said about the numbers being lower with German and French, but what if we were, instead of considering the number of students, how about we consider the effort the students put in? So, I can say that currently, Spanish Club has been on hiatus for most of my 4 years in high school, and for the one-ish year that has been put into action again, there were very few activities on it. And then if you look at, we have German and French Club. It is a very active club. They do lots of fundraisers and lots of different events that we have throughout the year. Of course, COVID has been a different story, but they put much more work into it than we have been able to do through Spanish Club. Also, we have our Global Scholars Club. I am the secretary and treasurer of Global Scholars Club, and I can say for one that I'm the only Spanish student this year who is going to be receiving the Global Scholars Award. There are three French, 2 German, and I'm the only Spanish one. So I can say already, although the numbers are small, French and German are dominating in that sort of effort. Along with this, we've heard from all the other alumni and students that there have been the different trips to European countries, are part of the German and the French classes. Spanish hasn't done a trip like that since, I'm pretty sure it was my freshman year. We have tried to do it a few years ago, but there wasn't enough people to be able to come up and decide to do this. But I feel like just the fact that there are so many students in French and German classes who are taking the time to fundraise, to get together, and to be able to go on a trip to Quebec or to different places in Germany, just all around European countries. I think all of this just shows how much effort the German and French students put in. I can say, I understand that a lot of the other speakers have said how Spanish is usually the easy way out. I can tell you that going from Spanish 1 to 3, and then from 3, which is technically afterwards it's not really required for college. In Spanish 4, there was basically only 30 kids in my one class, and that was one of 2 Spanish 4 classes where the other class had half. And this year in AP Spanish, there's only about 20 students in AP Spanish. So I can tell you that, as they said about getting the easy A and everything like that, although I believe it is a very unprofessional way of thinking, it is true. A lot of students take Spanish because it's the easy way of getting out of the language credentials needed for college. So I can tell you that by looking at the amount of effort that French and German students put into apples, everything else, it basically matches the amount that the Spanish students that actually care are putting in, because the rest of the Spanish students are only in it to get the A. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I hope you folks reconsider your decision of putting French and German online and out of brick and mortar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kara Becky, a 2017 alum from Greater Latrobe High School and recent graduate from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I am standing here today with immense feelings of anger, disgust, and most of all shame based on the decisions made by your school board. As an alum and former German student, I find the decision to phase out the German and French language departments thoughtless, ignorant, and unwise, and also, frankly, absurd. While I can only speak for the German department in my experience, taking Mrs. Wilkerson's class truly changed my life both academically and personally. German is not just a language, and to think so would be extraordinarily ignorant. German is a form of connection, a culture, to many, a lifestyle, and to the past and present students of Greater Latrobe High School, a family. Growing up in this small town in western Pennsylvania, one of the most important things I ever learned was developing a worldview and understanding. I learned that through German. Here, my inherent ignorance of the world was shattered. I saw and experienced the depths and the diversity and interrelation between human cultures. I learned a beautiful and rich history of a country and about lives far from mine. I was enlightened with the opportunity to grow myself and my awareness of this small world to further expand my global literacy. I learned an engaging, powerful, and captivating language, which has allowed me to form lasting connections with others, one unique to this language. This was my first glimpse into understanding the importance of human connection, which I truly believe begins with language and cannot be limited to just Spanish. It is to my understanding that Greater Latrobe is looking to guide students towards STEM-related classes and disciplines. Having recently graduated with a STEM bachelor's degree and pursuing a job in the space industry, I would like to emphasize the importance of language and arts within STEM. One of the largest issues I have noticed as an engineer is that the STEM industry is widely deficient in language and communication skills. Whether it be communicating design implementation ideas, conveying instructions on experimentation or builds, or writing funding proposals, the STEM industry falls short of individuals capable of efficient interfacing. interpersonal relations, inclusivity, open-mindedness, critical thinking, creativity, nonverbal communication, speech, writing, grammar, both in German and in English, are all just some of the countless skills I have learned from taking German. Skills that I use daily. Skills that I genuinely believe I would not possess if I had not taken this language. Skills that I am proud to say I have gained from Greater Latrobe. Skills that should not be taken away from future students by limiting language options. If the academic precedence behind language learning has not convinced you, let me speak on my experience with one of the best teachers I have ever had, Mrs. Wilkerson. In all of my academic career, from kindergarten to obtaining my bachelor's degree, I can count on one hand the teachers that I feel have truly helped shape my career and life, where Mrs. Wilkerson is at the top of the list. I have never felt more accepted, trusted, understood, and supported by any other teacher. Though I am not in a career that uses German, I use what I have learned from her through every aspect of my life. Through the academic skills stated above, to leading my life with kindness, compassion, ambition, curiosity, and drive, as she inspired me to do so. These academic and soft skills are what have led me to success today. German was the class that made me excited to wake up in the morning, and was my safety during the hardships of middle school. The German class, students, and teacher became my home and my family. I would not be anywhere today I am without it. It deeply saddens me to think that the experience that I had, as well as many others, would be taken away from future students. This is a class that cannot be replaced. In conclusion, phasing out the German and French language departments would be depriving students of a rich arsenal of skills and tools that I had always prided myself in gaining from Latrobe, and cannot be compensated with just one language option. Today, I began my speech with tones of anger and frustration, but I am choosing to end with hope and plea that you hear our words and our stories. I stand here today with the past and present students of Greater Latrobe begging you to consider the repercussions of these actions. If you want stories of success from language, look to us. The future students of Greater Latrobe deserve an education that goes beyond them and starts with language, not limited to just Spanish. And after hearing what we heard today at the beginning of this meeting, I added on a little bit to the end of my letter. And I would say that I would like to add that by having students take world language at a community college, as you had proposed at the beginning, is taking away their direct accessibility to language. I implore you to consider how many students will go out of their way to utilize this service, and go out of their way to feel uncomfortable by going to a community college rather than the comfortability of what classes we have at Latrobe. Vielen Dank für Ihre Zeit. Thank you for your time. Care Becky.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hi everybody, my name is Taylor Siggett. I graduated from Latrobe in 2016 as a valedictorian, and I continued my education at the University of West Florida, where I earned my bachelor's in global marketing. I'm here today to stress the importance of the French and German programs. I know we've heard a lot about the German programs, which is wonderful, but the French programs are equally as important. I know a lot of people that were my year, or a couple years above me, are off in cities across the country, so they couldn't be here tonight. So, the French program in this school district has been so influential in my academic, professional, and personal life. I started taking French in 7th grade with Madame Antolik, and I continued to take these French classes through my senior year with Madame Zaleski. French was by far my favorite subject throughout the junior and senior high. From learning about different countries and cultures around the world that speak French, to learning the nuances of the French language, the knowledge that I gained allowed me to have a better understanding of the world and subjects beyond the traditional science, math, English, and history courses. At the time I was taking French, I had never yet left the country. So this was the perfect way to gain an understanding of how people live in Francophone countries all over the globe, and I was inspired to make traveling and experiencing different cultures goals of mine for the future. The unparalleled French instruction that I received in both Madame Antolik and Madame Zaleski's classes set me up for great success in college. I was able to start at a higher level French course during my freshman year, and as a part of my degree in global marketing, I was required to study abroad, and I chose to study in Strasbourg, France, and this is when my French knowledge really helped me. The things I had learned about the French language and culture in my classes at Latrobe got me through my time in France. I noticed a huge difference between my background in the French language and culture compared to that of students who were not offered French courses at their high school or classes that weren't up to the standard of the awesome French department that we have here. I was able to easily navigate going to restaurants, traveling, shopping at the supermarket, and other daily situations that I faced every day that I was there. I made friends with native French students. I knew so much about different locations, history, and monuments, and not only the city where I was studying, Strasbourg, but also in different French cities that I visited, like Paris, Marseille, and Nice. I was able to understand why French people were doing the things that they were doing and how I could best blend into the culture that I was lucky to be a part of for a few months. I would have been lost without a strong background in French language and culture that started with 6 years of French courses at La Trobe. My little sister Lauren Siggett, who also graduated from La Trobe at the top of her class, took French throughout the junior and senior high as well, and she experienced the same benefits whenever she came to visit me while I was studying in France. She'll continue to see these benefits and the success whenever she studies abroad next spring, also in France. So while this is my personal experience with the French language courses at La Trobe, I know that there are many other students who have been positively impacted by this program. The French and German departments at La Trobe are essential and should not be altered from the brick and mortar classes. I believe that they set students up for success in the future and allow them more opportunities to find their interests and take classes that they are truly passionate about. Thank you guys so much.
Hello, my name is Cameron Baker. I'm a sophomore here at Greater La Trobe, and I'd like to start by having you guys pass these papers around just to look at. These are the Apples competition numbers, as well as every district in the school, in what every district in the county, in what languages they provide. So, after you have a chance to get a look at those, I'd like you to see that no other school in our county is in our boat. La Trobe has tended to be a leader in the past years, and what I'm afraid of is this, what's occurring here, happening at other schools. I understand that you are planning to move these programs on to online. And myself, I've been an online student for about 2 years now, since freshman year. What I've learned in comparison to when I was brick and mortar in 7th and 8th grade has been absolutely nothing. Without the speaking component, you're missing everything. And with online learning of a language, you can't have that. This decision has definitely been thought about for quite some time. I understand that, and I don't want to spend much time up here considering it's getting a little late for you guys. But you consider this decision an official decision, correct? Like, would you say it's final?
This would not even begin until 2022, 23.
Okay. But on terms of, you definitely feel like you have a good mindset of what's going on, and this was not voted on, correct?
You're correct.
Mr. Nicholas, you might be able to help me out with this one. Could you describe to me the Sunshine Act, if you're aware of what it is? I was about to say, that's a pretty common one.
The Sunshine Act basically suggests that deliberations by a quorum of a government body always have to be done in public. I think that's what you're referring to.
Okay. And with this decision, this may be a shot in the dark, I'm just throwing this out there, does that correlate at all? To the decision of, in terms, I hate to say cutting, because you guys have said multiple times, you're not cutting the programs by moving them online. But if we look back to our Chinese and Latin programs here at La Trobe, where are they now that they've been moved online?
Cameron.
Are you suggesting that the board violated the Sunshine Act?
In a way, yes, but it is a bit of a shot in the dark, like I said.
Cameron, as I spoke with you today at 11:50, I explained to you that every year during scheduling, when we get the numbers of student interests in classes, we look at the enrollment figures. And I also told you today that it's an administrative prerogative to not offer a class if the enrollment does not meet. And I gave you the example of a journalism class that won't be held because of 5 students being enrolled. Okay?
Yes.
So again, for years we've been looking at the enrollment, but I explained that to you today, and I explained the whole process, that this was not a vote. that it was a recommendation from the administration after collecting years of data. I explained to you that every year there are electives that aren't offered. Some are offered on a rotating basis. So I just wanted to make that note.
And moreover, this has been discussed publicly a number of times. Dr. Tepper reported on it today, and we're all sitting here talking about it now.
Okay, thank you.
It's not that something's being done in the dark.
Okay.
Here we are.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
And now moving on to the more cultural aspect and the cultural importance of choice and options in our district. So in our missions tab on our website, we state in shared values under curriculum and instruction to sustain a diversified and high quality curriculum focusing on rigor and relevance. I've noticed in schools, not just Latrobe, not just the county, all around the world, rigor has been taken out of courses based on, I hate to say parent phone call, but some of us as teachers before, I'm aware some of us were teachers before, but we can say that maybe we've had a parent phone call and we change the curriculum. Like we're taking out the importance of intelligence and rigor in our courses. And keeping this cultural option of options and choices would help us prevent from coming to that standard. So I understand that, oh God, sorry, I'm a little feeling scattered. I kind of went off my speech. But I'd just like to push that we all came here tonight and we are part of Latrobe. They are the future of this district. And Latrobe, is it true that we are declining in population?
Our population trend follows that of Western Pennsylvania, yes.
Okay.
And our school enrollment we are in a decline.
Okay. They are the future of that enrollment. Their kids will be coming here in, I don't know, next so many years. And as you can see, as they've spoken, this is something that they're very passionate about. And I know some weren't able to attend tonight, but they'll be here at the next meetings. We plan to keep talking about this because it is something we are so passionate about.
But right now, you have to stop because you're...
Okay, thank you.
I'm really passionate, and I hate to interrupt you, but I have to ask you to keep to the 5 minutes. You're
Okay.
here on 6.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Report, 145 Road.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you.
Take your mask
Oh,
off.
sorry. Would me and Ethan be allowed to speak together for this?
Yes, you can go together, absolutely.
I'm Hannah Zittergaard from 145 Drive, and I'm in grade 8 at the junior high.
I'm Ethan Hayes. I'm in grade 8 as well, and I live on White School Road.
So when I heard about the languages being taken away, I was very sad. I took German in 7th grade and French in 8th grade, and both teachers were very, very inspiring to me. And because I was taking French this year, it inspired me to take on teaching myself Korean and learning Filipino from a friend. And I don't think if I did not take French, I would definitely not have taken those languages at all. And without like Bana's help and encouragement, I would probably have given up by now. So, and I do know that my dad's company is based off of Germany, and sometimes he gets emails in German, and if you don't know German, you have to like use Google Translate, and Google Translate is not always accurate. So knowing German for his company is very crucial because he gets emails in other languages that he doesn't know. And if he knew German, he would be able to translate the emails and not have a language barrier.
My brother, Cameron Hayes.
Take your mask off, please. I can hear you.
My brother, Cameron Hayes, has been taking French along. He's a graduate from last year. And I learned like a lot from him. Like he told me to take French and I took it. And I didn't know how it was gonna end up, but it really like she said inspired me. It was a lot, but it was a challenge and that was good. And also for like Spanish, of how they were saying like, oh, it's an easy A. I also feel that it's also like persuading to like your friends speaking it. Because it's like, oh, my friends are taking it, but me joining in with them.
me, like, I've heard kids before, like, saying, oh, it's like, easy to cheat on Spanish tests, but I know I've learned more about like, my English language from French, because a lot of the words are based from French. So I feel like it's definitely not as hard as German. Like, German's definitely harder than French, but French, like, I've been able to like relate French like sentences and like grammar to English grammar, and that's helped me a lot in school. But that's all we have for today.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on there?
My name is Will Brigham. I live at 204 Denali Drive, Latrobe.
Way too old, man. Way too old. You're up there with me.
The last time I was here before the board, they left me standing here, didn't respond to me. So I guess I'll just talk to the wall tonight. The wall of students that are here, I appreciate this. You guys know about the life of a starfish?
No, sir.
Starfish storm the beach at a certain time of the year. Thousands of them. If they don't make it back into the ocean, they die. So there was a guy going along the beach and he's picking them up, he's throwing them back into the water. Another guy came along and said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm saving this one." Throw another one in. He said, "You're crazy. There's thousands of them. You'll never save them all." He said, "Well, it matters to this one." Throw it back in. So when they eliminate, and they change, phase out French, German, it mattered to you, and you, and you. It mattered to you guys. And the speeches that you guys gave tonight, Latrobe did a good job in teaching you guys to speak. Speech class, good job. However, the stories we heard tonight about phasing it out and going online, you guys said it didn't work. That's where we're headed. Now, they're not changing the curriculum, not phasing out any teachers next year, but phasing out over the next few years, that will happen. So we get 3 or 4 years down the road, the language is dead, and they won't be able to bring it back. So it's headed that way. They don't have to vote on it tonight because it's not changing anything with staff right now, but it will in the future. And that's where they're headed. Thank you.
Anybody else? There are no other comments. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Makes it worthwhile me sitting on this board to see if people come out and are interested in what's going on. You can rest assured, I'm a new guy on this board, but there's been a lot of thought and debate between us in regards to what's happening with these courses. But everybody says about raising taxes. If we keep them, your taxes are going to go up because of the cost of what's happening here. You can't have it both ways. But I appreciate you coming out. If nobody else has anything to say, we'll see you the next time. Thank you very much. Entertain a motion to adjourn.